Scoop City is brought to you by Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. Hi, everyone. I'm the Athletic Senior NFL Insider, Dianna Russini.
Okay, well, I'm Chase Daniel, and I played football for 14 years in the freaking NFL. Let's go.
Are you adjusted to daylight savings time yet?
No, well, I am. It actually helps me because I get up at 3:18 every single morning. And the last week or so, really 4 or 5 days, it's like I've been getting up at 4:18, so I've been sleeping well. My kids, however, yeah, right.
Same here. Disaster. Why 3:18? Why 1:8?
Because I did 3:15, it was too early. 3:20 was too late. And if you are driving from San Diego to LA and you miss a minute or two window, you're screwed.
That is unbelievable that you have it set up that way. Well, hopefully we can figure it out because I feel jet lagged too. My kids are up at 4:30 in the morning. We're a mess here.
I think it's the stupidest thing of all time, by the way.
I know. I feel like we need to fix this and just all live in Arizona and not deal with it, right?
They don't do it. Yeah, that's exactly right.
They kicked it to the curb.
They stay on that the whole year.
Yeah, their curbs don't have leaves like mine do at this time of
year.
No,
they don't.
All right, we got a big show. We've got a special guest, Mr. No Sleep, Mr. Steeler, Mr. Pittsburgh defender. Cam Heyward joins the show. They got a big one against the Commanders, but basically, if you're a football fan, you know who Cam Heyward is. And so he was awesome, joins the show to talk to us about Russ, about this locker room, Mike Tomlin, what this defense has been all about. And we put him on the hot seat and make him decide which Watt brother's better. We got an answer, kind of. Also, we are going to decide if we are half glass empty or half glass full heading into the second half of the season. So we're talking Eagles. We're going to talk the Texans. Let's just do the whole NFC West, right? Because I'm not too sure about any of them. So we're going to do that since we're at the midway point. Figured that makes sense. And do you realize, and you have an incredible memory, so you're probably better at this than I am, how many ridiculous things have been said this season? Like how
7.
many, like more than that. There have been so many things said this year that make you go, huh? But you may have forgot, but we're going to bring them back. So we're going to roll out some of the best things that were said in interviews, on podcasts, at the podium that you may have forgotten that we want to bring them back and discuss. So we'll get to that. But first, let's get to it. Here's what I'm hearing around the league. So the NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and all the rosters are set at this point. Yet the team that really has a big question mark in terms of what direction they're going to go in now is the Dallas Cowboys, with Dak Prescott dealing with this hamstring tendon, which is partially torn off the bone.
Ow.
It sounds disgusting, but this is something I know we've heard of players dealing with this. Have you ever dealt with something like this?
No, I've actually been really lucky and blessed. In my entire NFL career, I've broken one bone, and it was like a small bone in my thumb. But other than that, like nothing crazy. I've rolled my ankle a few times, but other than that, nothing.
Yeah, so this is a type of situation where, from what I can gather from some of the conversations I had with trainers, this could be something where they can manage it. This is the best case scenario. Let's be positive about it, where they can try to take care of it, rest, ice, elevate the whole thing, rice, or it could be more, or it could be more serious. So they're trying to figure out what they want to do. He's getting a couple opinions to see what direction they want to go in. I have a feeling though, you don't really care which way they go. You already have a thought about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean they're washed. I mean, like I say, washed. They are cooked. They are done. They are finito. Like even if Dak was playing, I don't think it takes away from the thought and the mindset, in my opinion, that the Dallas Cowboys were not good this year. Now, they've dealt with the injury bug. There's been a lot of injuries. Obviously, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence have been out. And then now Dak, CD hurts his shoulder. Brandon Cooks, like, where did he go? And you don't have a run game. You never had a run game. I honestly feel a little bad for Mike McCarthy having to deal with all this. And now your starting quarterback, who you paid $60 million, is out. Like, I would just put him on ice. Like you said, rice, how about just ice? Put him on ice the rest of the year. Because let's be honest, and I was going through this exercise, and I'm not really good at any subject other than math. Okay, so I'm good at math, so we're going to do some math right now. The Cowboys are 3-5. You need to get to 10 wins. You have to win 7 of your next 9 games. You have the Eagles twice. You have the Texans. You have the Commanders. There's no way they're doing it. The NFC is stacked this year. I just don't think there's any way, and there's no real reason to rush Dak back.
Yeah, meanwhile, they traded for Jonathan Mingo at the deadline. They gave up a 2025 fourth-round pick to the Panthers
Why?
in return.
Why?
This was something that I think they thought could help a team that could maybe, possibly make a run.
But you could have had DeAndre Hopkins for a 5th round.
The time passed. This to me, we give the Jones family a lot of credit on this show. We are a Jones-friendly Scoop City show. We are going to be critical on this one. This one was the only trade on the trade deadline day that I had teams texting me, asking me what you just did. Why? Oh. What, like, trying to find out if I knew something that you know what I mean? Like an under the table,
like, is he special or like
a situation,
like a
or was there
player?
a deal?
Yeah.
Is he related to him? Like is there something here? As a cousin. So that one definitely is going. I think we're going to look back on it a little bit how we look back at the Trey Lance one, which is like, what are we doing? And and I know you want to see Trey Lance, and I want to go back to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to see. Yeah. I mean. Okay, just go ahead. I gotta calm down a little bit.
I appreciate that you're getting very worked up over this. What are you getting worked up? Are you getting worked up over the fact that they had a roster that could have been competitive and we thought was going to be better? Or are you frustrated?
I'm frustrated at Jerry Jones giving up a 4th round pick for Trey Lance, and he is yet to see the field. He's a 3rd string quarterback. I'm frustrated that they decided, and this has to be like a Will McClay thing, that they tried to trade, that they traded a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo, who, I mean, like, dude, I'm sorry, like, I've never heard of him, and that doesn't mean he's not great, but like, I do a lot of research on players, and it doesn't mean he's not going to be good, but I just don't understand the draft capital. When you're 3-5, and you think that there's still a chance you're going to make the playoffs, why not just stand pat? Why not do something in free agency? I got it. Why don't you sign Derrick Henry? You have $20.4 million in cap space, and you're just sitting there doing nothing to help your guy out. It's going to get Mike McCarthy fired. I mean, they're going to have a fresh new roster next year, a fresh new coaching staff. You're starting over. At this point, play Trey Lance, get a high draft pick. Who knows? He might play well. You might, I don't know.
I know we've come full circle here because I feel like we started this summer talking about the Dallas Cowboys and asking that question, why they didn't sign Derrick Henry? And now here we are. And what are we doing? Why didn't they sign Derrick Henry? And obviously the year that Derrick's had is just adding to the argument that that's a move that they probably should have considered. Even though we do know they had more holes on this roster than I think we even expected heading into the season. But let's keep with the quarterback chatter going. Trevor Lawrence, not expected to play against the Minnesota Vikings. He's dealing with a shoulder situation. He's also in limbo, trying to figure out what he wants to do next. Look, I think we feel the same way about the Jags at this point. That division in general has been very complicated and difficult to figure out who's actually good. But what does this mean for the Jags long term? If let's just go on the negative side of this. Let's just say that they decide, okay, this is more serious than just a few games here. We're going to make this decision. We're done for the year. We're going to get surgery.
Yeah. I mean, it's his left shoulder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, from a quarterback perspective, they're clearly out of the race for the playoffs. And I'm very pro Doug Peterson. I think he's an excellent coach. I think that he sort of got the short end of the stick there, especially this past year. And you don't agree?
Don't agree.
Oh, you're not pro. Okay, why not?
I think Doug Peterson's fantastic. He's won a Super Bowl. He's an awesome guy. I don't think he's done a really good job in Jacksonville. I don't think it's been good.
Explain.
What do you mean? Have you watched the first 2 months of football? Like
I have, but in 2023 they started 8-1 or whatever, right? Won their first playoff game.
Well, the year before that. Well, he came in.
Yeah.
He came in and took over for Urban Meyer, which I kind of feel like, the bar was pretty low at that point, and he did. I think he fixed it for the mess that Urban made, and he was able to bring a locker room together and get rid of a lot of the warts and problems that came with Urban Meyer. But I still don't think this is a team that should look the way they have. I thought they were going to be better.
Can anyone win in Jacksonville?
Why? What is it about Jacksonville? Is it the roster? Is this a Trent Baalke thing? Should we be putting more? Should we be putting more emphasis on the roster moves that they've made?
Look, I just hate, and maybe it's just my pro Doug Peterson. I hate when people blame Doug Peterson for all the problems that are happening down there.
He doesn't like it either.
Yeah, I know he doesn't.
He blames the players.
He blames the players.
He blames the players. Nobody likes it. Look, look, some of this is on him. Some of it's on the players. I know the code is you're not supposed to ever blame the players. I get it. But I do think there are scenarios where it's like, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? I can't go out there and
in your opinion, is he done after this year if they don't show some?
I think I would be surprised if Doug Peterson is still in Jacksonville. He could still live, but I just there's too much smoke around there to believe that.
And as far as Trevor goes, I mean, if you're hurt, get surgery. If you're not, then play. Like, it's pretty black and white for me. And I'm a competitor, and if I can go out there and play, like, I'm going to play. But if his shoulder's serious, have surgery. I mean, he's making $55 million a year. He's going to be their quarterback for the next year or so, right? Like, it's just there's no way around it. I don't think he's played up to standards. I don't think anyone has, to be honest with you.
I know, and I do think when we speak of Doug, I think we think of the golden years. We think of the years that he had in Philly, but he's only won one season of 10-plus games. He's only done it once in his career as a head coach. So I'm not trying to be really tough on him, but that's the reality. So Bryce Young is starting again in Germany against the New York Giants, all right?
Of course he is.
Dan Morgan came out and said, essentially, I'm going to translate for you what he said. People called us and I hung up the phone. People called us and I didn't pick up. I think the truth there is probably a little in between. I think it was conversations. Let's kind of get a feel for what the market is. Probably not great. We're going to hold on to him. We're going to wait for the offseason and make a move. If that's
is there a way, though, that at the end of the year, if Bryce plays well enough, that one, he could have a legit trade market, or two, that the Panthers would keep him?
They want this to work. That is the tone I get from this organization. It's unfortunate that it hasn't been smooth, but there are people there that want Bryce to be in Carolina. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do enough with this coaching staff, who I do think ownership has belief in. That this
what would they do? Because this next year's, if they were to trade him, this next year's quarterback class is not great. Are you going to have enough ammo to move up to 1 or 2? And even at 1 or 2, I don't think quarterbacks go off the board at 1 or 2. That's how weak this is. Do you go out and you get an older franchise guy?
I thought you were going to say Joe Flacco. Well, they did the Andy thing, right? I mean, I think from Carolina's perspective, if they don't love a quarterback in this class, they're going to probably have to just go find a veteran, find a journeyman to do it. But
Justin Fields?
With that in mind, oh my God, I can't wait for the all season. You're going to have Justin everywhere.
Justin.
But with that in mind, though, I do think that's going to be part of the factor of, all right, well, we don't have a quarterback in the future yet. So we have this guy who everyone said coming out is brilliant and has all this ability and all this potential. And people in Alabama told me that he still has it. That he is not dead in the water. And I just think they just need to figure out how to make this work. And if they don't, trade him in the offseason. And I'm sure we will see a Kevin O'Connell, a Sean McVay, a Mike McDaniel, some other genius somewhere. All right, let's move this along to talk about Andrew Berry's press conference talking about Deshaun Watson, since we're going to quickly wrap up this quarterback chatter, right? Did you hear what Andrew said?
I did. Non-committal.
That's a good way to put it. I was really surprised by that. I thought that they were just going to stick with the script that they've used all year, which is like, he's our quarterback, he's our guy, he's our future, blah, blah. But the fact that they were wavering, I think that tells a story. I think that tells you.
But I get it. There should be doubt, Dianna. There should be a lot of doubt, because it's a black cloud surrounding that franchise. A $200-something million guaranteed is a black cloud. They can't get out of this contract. They owe him like $85 million if they
can get out of it. They just got to eat it.
That's what I'm saying. They can get out of it, but are you going to not, like? What's your sense there? Let me just ask that.
I think they're in flux. I think everyone is just trying to figure out what the best thing to do is.
So what's your read on this situation? How much will it cost the Browns if they were to cut Deshaun Watson?
A very large amount of money. All right, so if they cut him, this upcoming offseason before June 1st, it's $172 million. If it's an after June 1 cut, then it's going to be $118 million.
How can you cut him? Can you not leave him on your roster for a backup? Or do you think that whole situation wouldn't work?
Gosh, I feel like that's
in the locker room.
That's another layer, right?
Well, this is what we do on Scoop City. We dive deep into some layers.
It's kind of like Denver with Russell Wilson, right? It's like you're either the guy or
it's not even remotely like Russell Wilson, Dianna. That was $40 million. This is $172 million. It is nothing. It's never been seen in the history of the league before.
Yeah, I think the decision is going to be one that has to be in the best interest of this team moving forward. And is Deshaun Watson being on the roster, is that making the Cleveland Browns better?
It's going to set your franchise back years, though.
Forget the quarterbacking. Is that person, that guy on the field, that guy in the locker room, that guy interacting in the community, the person that you're all in on, the one that all these guys met with. Let's just go back to when you had these teams that were interested in him. You had the Saints, the Falcons, and the Browns. It was essentially, a three-way race. And everyone
How glad are they?
I've thought about that before.
I mean, like the Saints and everything that happened. The Falcons are super happy to have Kirk O'Bangs for $100 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The Falcons who were in on Deshaun Watson, but were not in on Lamar Jackson. Don't get me started. All right, let's wrap this up with some good news.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey is tracking to play. This has been the game that we've had circled. What a 6-month period this has been for him, right? He gets the new contract early June, goes out to training camp, surprise inactive on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets, kind of comes out of nowhere that there's a problem, and it's a big one. It's an Achilles issue in both legs. Goes to Germany, collects more information, comes back, and Kyle Shanahan's playing coy right now as the Niners are getting ready to prepare against the Buccaneers, but he wants to play. Christian McCaffrey wants to get out there. So
okay, but how much are they going to put him out there? And my question, I guess I should be answering this one because I'm the. How much will it help them?
You have to figure it's going to be a gigantic addition considering how much of this offense is run through Christian McCaffrey.
They don't fix their defense, Dianna.
Well, that has clearly been their biggest problem, and it's why during the trade deadline they were calling around. They were trying to get players.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on about CMC.
And in the end, they did
it's going
do
to be
that.
an addition.
They did that deal for that defensive tackle out of Houston. They made that trade right at the deadline, but still, they didn't make a big move to improve the defense. But overall, just because we talk about that team having such bad vibes, like maybe the bad vibes are turning. I feel like the bad vibes are in Dallas now. The cloud just kind of moved south.
They are totally south.
They're the second half of the season bad vibe team.
I think you're right on it, though, because I want to just say something about CMC. I think a lot of people aren't really understanding, or not understanding, but I think that he is going to make a difference, but I think he's going to make a difference in the pass game.
Yes.
Because that like in the slot out of the backfield, Jordan Mason is like 6th in rushing right now, so they haven't really lost the rushing aspect, I would say. Now CMC is a different animal. But it will I'm going to be watching like how healthy he is out of the backfield running routes. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, we're currently working on trying to find out what did he do in Germany? Like what happened there? What did he get?
Oh, get him. Yeah,
working on that. So hopefully next show I'll have a little bit more details for you. But let's do this. I want to rip through this. So I know we joke on this show all the time. Like you're positive Pat. Like you look at everything with a really good eye, and you're always happy.
Thanks, Dianna.
And I figured since we're at the halfway point that we would do a segment where we would kind of look at 6 different teams through this idea of a glass half full and a glass half empty, right? I'm a little bit more negative than you are. I can't help it. Just the way I am.
You don't say.
I think it's an Italian thing. It's my mother's
Well,
fault.
no, you know what? My wife's exactly like you in that aspect.
Maybe it's a mother
And
thing.
she says, I'm not negative. I'm just a realist. You're a realist.
Thanks, Hillary. I'll take that. So essentially the translation of this exercise is going to be, will this team keep ascending as we hit the stretch run here, right? So are they going to keep improving? So I want to start, since we were just talking Niners, let's just clunk the NFC West together, right? The Niners, the Hawks, the Cardinals, and the Rams. Are you half full or half empty on these guys?
I'm half full. I'm half full. I actually like what the Cardinals are doing. They're in first place, which is absolutely crazy to say. Through 10 weeks of the NFL season, their defense hasn't been great, and their offense has gotten a lot of the love. I'm very, very big on the Rams because they're getting Jonah Jackson back. They're getting they won 3 in a row. They're playing a lot better, and they have a guy that's gets so disrespected at quarterback and not talked about enough, Matthew Stafford. I love that dude.
Why is that? I've thought about that.
Well, he plays in the LA market, and he's old, and no one covers him. And then he does something like he did against Seattle and throws just an absolute rocket to who caught that? Demarcus Robinson for the touchdown, one-handed catch. So, and then the 49ers, there might have been bad vibes, but I got the glass half full because of CMC coming back too. They're going to turn around. My
issue with the Rams is they're so young on defense, and they just obviously we know Aaron Donald's not there anymore. They're a bit inexperienced, but I will say this: if this Rams team that we're seeing with this kind of roster, with the injuries that they've dealt with and all the blips that they've had along the way, if they are able to go to the playoffs, of all of Sean McVay's coaching
jobs,
success. Yeah. I would say that this is his most successful coaching job.
Oh, no doubt. You don't like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk? Those dudes are beasts right now on the defensive line.
They're good. And I remember in the offseason talking to them about, hey, your defense is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
They were like, no, these guys are good. But they're young, right? So they're just not what they used to be. The Cardinals, they're too inexperienced. I love Kyler. I like what this team's about. Everyone's scrappy in this division. Everyone's scrappy, right? I just don't think any of these teams, including the Niners, are going to beat the monsters when it comes, meaning the Lions,
glass half
the
empty,
Packers.
Negative Nancy over there.
So that is the only reason why.
Are you just going to say glass half empty for everything?
No. So let's get to the Texans. Goodness. I am full on this. But
of course you are.
My water's murky, though. It's murky.
See how you can't do that. It's either clear spring water that's glass half full, or your
it's murky
cup is empty.
because the offensive line is concerning me.
Bad, Diana.
I'm well aware. The wide receiving core is still a little bit of a question mark. We obviously have some injuries here. We'll find out if Nico Collins is coming back. Stephon Diggs is out for the year. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline in terms of improving that. They sort of stayed pat here.
Yeah.
And look, every game has been tough for them. It's like they have not had an easy win yet, and this is a team that finished hot last year.
Yeah, you're making me second guess my answer, and that's sort of like my wife does. She's the realist of the answer. But you said half full, just murky. I'll go half full too. I like the Texans. I like CJ Stroud. It does hurt that you don't have your top 2 receivers, and it does not help that your offensive line is the 31st worst offensive line. He's gotten sacked and hit more than I think. I had some numbers ran just about anyone. So he's having to get rid of the ball a lot quicker. But I believe in D'Amico Ryans. I
knew you were going to say that.
I believe in D'Amico, and specifically I believe in that defense, even though they're leading the league in touchdown passes given up, which is wild. And they play the Lions this week, and they're probably going to lose that game, so they're going to 6-4. So our takes won't sound right, but I got
you blew through that they're playing the Lions. This is a huge game for the Texans.
Statement game, in my opinion.
This is going to tell us, because I know we debate about this team a lot on the show, and I can't wait for next show to discuss this game, because to me, we're going to find out what the Houston Texans are made of after this game.
I just don't see there's any way that they're going to win. But, all right, we'll go.
Meanwhile, you got the Jets. They're traveling to Arizona.
Oh, God. We're talking about the Jets.
I love doing it because I just like your reaction. It makes me laugh.
What's your answer?
Well, they've got the Cardinals, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, and the Jags.
5th easiest schedule left.
Right? Can they survive that stretch 4-1? That's the question. I'm saying yeah. I am.
Diana, stop drinking the green Kool-Aid
of the New York Jets. I think that they're going to find their rhythm here, and they're going to finish strong. I can't even say it seriously, but
you don't even believe yourself.
I don't today.
You want to believe yourself.
I want to see them have success, and I think that's the problem. There are people on that team. There are people that are part of that organization who want it so badly and have been through a lot there. But at the end of the day, I don't think this Aaron Rodgers experience has worked.
You don't say. You don't think? Can you just say it hasn't worked? I'm waiting.
Well, we know you're not afraid to say it because I see you on TV every day saying it.
When I talk about
of course it hasn't worked. The whole thing has. The whole organization has not worked. Say it with your chest. It has not worked from Woody Johnson all the way down. This is not working. So let's move on to the Vikings.
Wait. I'm empty. I'm all the way empty. I'm not even halfway. I'm all the way empty. They're 3-6, Diana. Let's be real. Yes, let's be real. The Jets, they're 3-6. They might get a win. It's going to be a tough test against the Cardinals. They'll go to 4-6.
Not even a drop.
There's been 4 teams in NFL history to start 4-6 and to make the playoffs after starting 4-6. And guess what? 3 of those 4 were last year. So there's hope, but I just, sorry, no hope.
Yeah, no soupy for the Jets. The Vikings. All right, so I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
Glass empty. Okay, here's why. Their defense has slipped. Trade deadline, they were looking for a pass rusher. They needed interior help. They didn't get any of that. 15.2 points per game allowed before the bye. After the bye, 24.7. 24.7. Oh. They're letting up a bit. That makes me nervous. I don't like this. And this is not fair because he's done such a good job in this system. But I can't commit to Sam Darnold. He is. See
what you're doing? You're backtracking a little bit because we were loving up Sam Darnold and said that Kevin O'Connell should be coach of the year 3 weeks ago.
But I believe in that. If they keep going, I believe that. I think Mike Tomlin should be coach of the year right now if you were to really ask me. But Kevin's right behind him. I think what Kevin's done is tremendous in figuring out a way to bring Sam Darnold out. I want to see in the second half of the season if this can happen. Yeah. And there's just, I don't know, maybe I've just been doing this so long and I just very rarely see it pan out.
You're right. You're right. I'm going glass half full because I am trusting Brian Flores to get that defense right. I'm trusting Kevin O'Connell, who I have the utmost faith in. Love the way he coaches. Love the way he competes. Love everything about it. So I'm in.
All right. We got the Eagles. So they're heading to face the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. And I'm empty on them. All right. So after they beat the Jags. Did you hear Lane Johnson? He was like, I felt like we left. And then there was like this thug pause. And he's like, we should have beaten them by 40. You know, whatever. They know they left points.
They left 9 points to be exact.
I don't. Okay, let's just talk roster. Let's just talk about the position groups, right? I think Jalen is playing fantastic right now. I'm not worried about Jalen. I think the wide receivers are awesome right now. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, A++, right? The run game is fantastic.
Yeah.
Defense is solid. Offensive line, solid. I am worried that this is going to come down to Nick Sirianni. Can he stay out of the way? That is because he hasn't really cost them, right? He hasn't cost a game. It's not because Nick Sirianni decision that they took the L, but there are decisions that are being made throughout the game as a whole that can potentially add up in a different situation, different scenario. We've seen it before. We've seen coaches win. We've seen coaches lose games because of game management. And I am concerned that he may make some bad decisions that could hurt his team.
You must be reading my mind because that's the only reason why I would be glass half empty. But I think the players and I think the coordinators are carrying this team. I don't think Nick Sirianni is carrying this team. In fact, I would go as far as saying I think Nick Sirianni is holding back his team. 3 failed 2-point conversions, 2 failed 4th down conversions in Jacksonville's territory. Kick it. You have 9 extra points. Then it's a blowout. Take the points every time. And look, another reason why I'm really glass half full more than not on the Eagles, because I've been not bashed. I've been tough on the Eagles this year. I like the way they're winning, and they're winning right now since week 6 on defense. They have the most sacks in the NFL since week 6. They have the number 2 rushing defense. They have the number 1 passing defense. They are allowing the fewest yards per play. Vic Fangio has completely turned around that defense. I know people said, hey, we should go get a pass rusher, yada, yada, yada. He's found his rhythm as a defensive coordinator, and I think everyone knows the talent they have on offense. So I got to give my guy Vic some love. That's the reason they're winning right now.
The Eagles are 40-19 in the Sirianni era, right? He's winning 67% of his games. So as much as I'm standing up here going, I don't trust him. They win. So, look, this is all going to come down to, could they win in spite of him, though, when it comes down to it? So
that's a good question.
Yes, it is. We will see. I can tell you, my guy over at my son's daycare, Jay, who gives the boys their lunch during the day. Shout out to him. Big Scoop City listener. Big Eagles fan, too. So
shout out, Jay.
Yeah, Jay, sorry. I hope you're not mad at me, but we'll see if your Philly team can figure it out. Maybe, because you're from Pennsylvania, you want to be a Steelers fan because they seem to be red hot lately. Joining us next, Mr. Steeler himself, Cam Heyward, joins Scoop City. We'll be right back. Back here on Scoop City, All-Pro defensive tackle, Mr. Steeler himself, team captain, Cam Heyward. We wanted to hit you right away on the fact that you broke the record recently for a defensive player playing the absolute most snaps as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And it had us thinking, how far do you want to take this thing? Like, do you want to break the Steeler record for most games played, most snaps taken, and own the crown? What's the game plan here for you?
I'd like to break the record. We'll see. We'll take it year by year. But
Big Ben.
Ben set the bar pretty high, and I think he's at 249. So that's a good chunk of games. But I like to take a swing at it.
So you've been doing this a long time, and I know we do the old man jokes with you. Everyone gives you a hard time about it. But that being said, I do want to know, what is it like getting out of bed in the morning at your age compared to what it was 10 years ago? Like, start me with the eyes open and go.
Eyes open. And then once I get up out of bed, I'm like, legs, ankles and knees hurt a little bit more than used to. Yep. You start to shake around and say, okay, we can still go. And we start walking. And, from there, I get better as the day keeps going. And, I think I try to be intentional about taking care of my body. And I think that's been the main thing for me, even playing this long, is learning at a young age how to take care of my body, especially in the league, whether it's, massages or it's Pilates or it's, extra stretching or, cupping. It's a multitude of things. And, I just have to be, smarter about it. And, after a game, I have to be on a massage table.
You get in the cold tub after the game?
Yes. Got to be in the cold tub.
Man.
So it's cold tub and then massage?
Cold tub, hot tub, massage, you name it. It's a plethora of things these days.
Look, Cam, you're one of the, if not the unquestioned leader, obviously, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, Dianna and I and the rest of the world, we're not in the locker room with you guys. Mm-hmm. So we don't know how everything was handled with the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields situation, because in my opinion, I'm a big Justin Fields fan. He played really well when Russ was hurt. How was that transition? I mean, it helps when you go 2-0 as Russ, and he's played outstanding. But how was that transition from the leadership perspective in the locker room?
I think for us, it came to a point where, especially during training camp, we acknowledged both guys were pretty damn special. And we knew it was going to be, a pretty good competition. Either way, we were going to be set at quarterback just because these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
And so it worked out where, we were playing. Russ got hurt. And, you roll with Justin. Mike T came and addressed us once he felt Russ was able to go. And I don't think we missed a beat in that. I think we understood we're going to support both guys. And whoever's on the field, we got to provide short fields. We got to make sure we give them every opportunity to succeed because we understand it's not our decision, but it's our decision to make these guys look good. And so making sure we were able to just help out as much as possible.
Yet at the same time, Mike makes the decision to move off Justin after having some success there. It almost felt like he was on an island there, right? Like, it's at least on the outside. Look, I'm not going to talk for your team. I'm just going to say on the outside. We're all like, Mike, what are you doing? And he obviously made the right decision here as you guys have been able to find ways to win every week. What was Coach like the next day? Come on. Like, you're telling me he wasn't walking around like, I'm the guy. I told you. What was he really like?
I think the only thing I heard him say, when everybody started asking about, congrats on making that decision, he was just like, well, that's why they pay me the big bucks. And I was like,
it's true.
Damn right. it's a pat on his back, but like, he's not looking for the pat on his back. He's just looking to make sure we win. Because if we lost, he'd be like, man, y'all need to make me look right. And so, he's big on that.
You were part of that recruitment when Russ came on that free agent visit, and you were explaining to him, like, look, this is Pittsburgh. This is not LA. You play in Pittsburgh. It's a certain type of community, right? It's a certain type of culture there.
Yes.
It's all about football there in Pittsburgh. So now Russ is there, and he's part of the community. He's leaning into it. What's like the most Pittsburgh thing you've seen Russ do, even though he's new to all this? Anything you've observed where you're like, this guy, he's acting like he's been here?
Well, I think once I saw Russ go to the Steelers pro shop and he was buying a lot, I was like, he's invested.
Team issue?
I was like, Russ,
he was team issue gear?
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, Russ, they give you that stuff for free, and he's going out buying it himself. I'm like, I guess he's committed. Like, he's locked in from there. So, you appreciate it. Like,
how is Russ integrated to the locker room, though? Because, there's a lot being said about how his time finished in Seattle, even though he's won a Super Bowl, been to another, and then the time in Denver where they pretty much gave him away for free for you guys. They're pretty much paying for his salary. How is that in the locker room? Because there's a lot of stuff outside of that said about him.
For us, I think it comes to a point where, we don't really care what happened before. All we can worry about is what's going on. And so when he got here, it was more just like, be a part of the team. We don't need you to be some savior. We have a lot of good teammates. We got a lot of good leaders. We're just asking you to be a part of this. And Russ has been bought in, just trying to connect, trying to learn people, communicate. I don't think there's a day where you don't see Russ trying to work with a guy extra after practice or trying to get to know people. So I think Russ has been, just trying to extend himself and just learn different people.
After years of covering you, I can say this fiercely. I don't think I know a player and a head coach that have a bond and a relationship the way you have with Mike Tomlin. Like, I've even noticed, like, after the games that I'm chasing, after you're trying to get an interview, Mike will wait for you to finish your interview with us and then walk into the locker room with you. He waits for you every single game, right? You guys obviously have got something really special. We only see the stuff at the podium. We've all, if you cover the team, you've had a couple conversations, but we don't know him the way you do. From the coach side of this, on what makes Mike Tomlin so good every year, what is it that you've learned over all your years being a Steeler that makes Mike Tomlin so good?
He knows to push each of our buttons in different ways. And he is very keen on doing that. Even if you're not practicing, like today was my day off, and he was still finding ways to push my buttons, sharing analytical data with me about my age.
That's amazing.
He does that for every single player. I know everybody makes a big deal about, he's a player's coach. Man, Coach finds different ways to motivate different players. And whether it was AB when he was here and he was chasing greatness and, sharing all the different stats for him, Mike T knows how to find stuff for each one of us. If you're a guy who needs a little bit of embarrassment, he's going to give you a little bit of embarrassment.
Wow.
If he's a guy, that just needs a little bit of extra love, he's going to do that. Or if he's a guy who's just, you don't have to say a lot to, but roll out the ball, he's ready to play, he'll provide that as well.
You guys are off to one of your better starts this year, and quite honestly, it feels different on the outside for the Pittsburgh Steelers because you guys really have been through a revolving door of quarterbacks. That defense has always been the steel curtain, right? And you continue to be that steel curtain. But you got a good test this weekend against Jayden Daniels and those Commanders. He was born, just so you know, in the year 2000.
That was one of the stats Mike probably gave him. He was like, the quarterback's 2000.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
which is nuts. Like, what are you looking forward to, and what's going to be your toughest test this weekend?
The thing I'm looking forward to, I just read this crazy stat that they've only had 19 punts in 9 games. In 2 games, they had 0 punts.
0, yeah.
So when you think about that stat, I'm like, shoot. We were even talking about it. Like, if you get off the field, you gotta throw a pep rally because like nobody else is really doing this. And he's having a lot of success running the ball. I can't say enough about the mobility he has, but their whole offense has been just gelling since day one. So excited to really just go against that group.
Yeah, their punter trusts Way doesn't do much. He just like hangs out.
Yeah,
on the
it's
sideline.
like,
I
but
go-
like, I want to know from a defensive perspective, because I'm a film nut, right? And I watched every one of his games, and as you're watching him, you don't have to give away a lot. Like, what makes him so special, though? Like, they're third in the NFL in third down. They're third in the NFL in rushing, which a lot of people don't understand either. They run the ball really well. What makes him so difficult to defend?
I think with the rushing, you have, two really good running backs leading the way, but then you add a quarterback that pretty damn special as well. That's going to really screw up a lot for a lot of people. You could have the perfect play call as a defense, right? But if this guy makes somebody miss, you're playing 10 on 11. And it's just, the defense is always at a disadvantage because, there's a chance for everybody to be covered. And if one guy misses a tackle, it's a home run hit.
I said TJ Watt is better than his brother JJ, and people were coming at me hard. Help me. Help me. You agree with me? Come on.
I've only played with TJ, but I know JJ as well. It's something in that Wisconsin water that, they were born in, genetic test tubes because these dudes are special.
I don't know. I don't think the Heyward brothers are doing too bad themselves. So let's not sell that too short. Let's not sell that short. All right, to get you out of here. So our show's called Scoop City. Thank you so much for helping on with us. So we always ask our guests some scoop. So we want some scoop on you. What's the scoop on the Buckeye, you, dressing up as a Wolverine for Halloween?
I wanted to play more into my age. Because the big thing was Wolverine was in the Deadpool movie, and they say he could play till he's 90, or you could do it till he's 90. And I was thinking that kind of fits my MO these days. Everybody wants me to retire, or everybody thinks I'm supposed to be done. I'm like, maybe I'll just play till I'm like 75 years old. That's a joke, by the way. I
was just going to say, you just gave us the best scoop.
I got a scoop. I got a scoop too.
Can you see it? Cam Heyward plays to 75.
Last question. What's this? Because I've studied you and I've really enjoyed watching your media career, right? You have a podcast right now. You went to the NFL broadcast boot camp a couple years ago. What's the scoop on you when you retire? Are you wanting to get into the media full time because you can do it?
I might like to. We'll see what happens. I don't like to jump in all the way and declare, hey, I'm going to be this media person, but there's options there. But I think I enjoy the podcast where I enjoy talking about my Buckeyes. I enjoy talking about my Steelers. I also enjoy just talking about, pop culture stuff, whether it's Love is Blind and all that stuff.
Gosh,
so
amazing.
It's a good time.
I love it.
All right, Cam, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know you got to run some meetings, so we appreciate it. Good luck against the Commanders, and don't worry, age is just a number. You're doing just fine. So thanks so much for hanging out, and hopefully one day you come back to Scoop City.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Bye, Cam. All right, so we've been talking about all show how we are at the halfway point, and it's so much happens every single week. So many stories are breaking. So many things are happening on the field, off the field, that it's hard to remember all the things that have gone down over the last few months. It has flown by. So I thought we'd come up with this new segment called Sound Up, and we're just going to reflect on what our producers really think are the best things that happened in the first half of the season. And let's just kind of recall it and have some fun with it, all right?
Let's go.
First up, Bill Belichick on the Manning cast talking about the New York Jets.
Yeah, Peyton, Eli, I'm not a big Jets fan, in case you don't know that. Like Fireman Ed, but that's it. Kind of what it's been there at the Jets. It barely won over 30% in the last 10 years. So, the owner being the owner, just ready, fire, aim.
Well,
wow. The owner being the owner?
So I'm going to guess that he's not on the list of head coach candidates coming up next season.
You know what I have noticed about Bill Belichick? He was everywhere for the first 8 weeks of the season, and now he's still everywhere, but he is very, very much more coach speak because I think he's trying to get a job, Diana.
Yes, we could have told you this formula. I think a lot of the PR behind his moves this year were, let me put myself out there, let me connect with the young guys, let me show everybody I know what I'm doing, have some fun, be lighthearted, be likable. And then the real Bill Belichick came out when he was talking about Woody Johnson. And I love the fact that he was honest and he was transparent, but you can cross the New York Jets off the list for Bill Belichick. Next up, Anthony Richardson takes himself out of the game because he was tired. He explains himself after the game.
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told Sam I just needed a break right there.
Lie!
Why did you bring this up? Why did you bring this up? You're gonna make me go viral again because of the stupid stuff I'm gonna have to say about him again. Just lie to the media. Just don't say that. Like your job. You know what? I don't.
Next up. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones gets blown out on Sunday Night Football on his 82nd birthday. And so the next day he has a radio interview to talk all about the game. And the radio host started to ask him really tough questions. And hear how Jerry responded.
Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over the radio and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. This is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
why.
why.
A job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
And then I saw him like 20 minutes after that, and
Jerry's losing it. Jerry's losing it.
I don't know. I think I actually think there's two parts to this. One, like, first of all, I do think it's kind of badass when an owner's basically just like, yeah, I can get rid of you, because I do think sometimes we forget how much money these people have.
But
it's not right.
He
can't do that.
He can't do that.
But him flexing,
it was a
like
major
that,
flex. It was a major flex. I was just about to say. Yeah.
But the second
He's
part
take his helicopter and take him out to the train station.
Exactly. I do think though that Jerry is a master at making everyone talk about him and not his crummy team.
He's a businessman.
I think that was part of it. So they wound
You're
up
too nice to him.
Kissing and hugging and making up. I'm not. I'm hard in person to him. He would tell you that. I have to be, because there's the times I'm talking to him, it's usually because I'm trying to find out what the heck are they doing and why are they doing it. All right, we got next up. This is probably one of my favorite moments of the season. The Spanish language call of the Commanders' Hail Mary against the Bears.
Aguanta Daniels, no tiene con quién. Ahora sí Daniels a lanzar a lo profundo del terreno de juego. Ahí está la recepción. Touchdown. Touchdown de Washington. Touchdown. Está adentro. Touchdown. Commanders. El Ave María.
Oh my God, that hurt my ear.
48 seconds of just cheering for the touchdown. 48 seconds.
Did you ever watch, like I was a big soccer fan when I was like a kid, and I think it was on Telemundo. There was soccer every Saturday. And I would listen. I mean, I didn't know anything, but I would watch soccer because I liked seeing it. And that just reminds me of them saying, "Go!"
It's exactly why I loved it, because it was the same thing.
And they would hold it forever. And it was just like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that. Obviously, that Hail Mary in general will go down as probably the play of the year, at least for the first half of the season. But to hear it in Spanish, I just think made it a little spicier and made it extra special, just especially all that passion and energy. Next up, so we started talking about Bill Belichick and his feelings towards Woody Johnson. Well, Woody Johnson had some thoughts about this New York Jets team. This was right after they traded for Devontae Adams, and they're coming off a loss, and everything is just chaotic. Listen to Woody.
You know, thinking is overrated. You have to look forward. You have to look forward to the games we're going to play each and every week, and try to win all of them. And that's basic stuff, right?
Are you
I was saying Talladega Nights. You've heard of that? Yeah. Remember that one scene? He said, "You're not a thinker. You're a driver." Yeah. Right? And a lot of times it is. You just have to go with your instinct and what's the best thing to build a team and build a winning team and most importantly, build a culture.
culture. Okay.
What?
You know that clown or carnival music? Do, 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 do. That's what I wanted to play. Like, I was standing in front of him when he was saying that. And I'm like, maybe I can't hear, but I think he just said that.
Yeah, what was your thought when he said that?
Well, it was, you can't really tell it sound like that, but that was me asking the questions. And we were really surprised that he stopped to talk to us. And he was in a good mood because the Devontae stuff just happened. But to say that, like, essentially thinking's overrated, he obviously was tongue in cheek on that. I didn't mean that. But
is he going to take the? Is he going to take the ambassador job?
I mean, he did it last time the Trump was president.
So how would that work? 4 years over there?
Yeah, so he would move to the UK, and his brother Christopher would run the team. That's what they did last time.
Would he still have say in it though?
So he had a little bit. He had say in the hiring of Robert Saleh while he was in London and came back, and then took over. But what they say is the organization is run by Christopher, but Woody is kept in the know.
I wonder if Jets fans want that to happen.
They do. I can tell you that. Christopher is a different type of owner. He's a different type of thinker. So we'll see if that winds up, because I do think that's going to be an interesting story. It's
a big deal.
I think it's going to be helpful in their coach search. If there are coaches that want the job, if they don't think Woody's part of it, I could see them being like, okay, well, maybe I can make this work.
That's such a good point.
You know? Next up,
your job.
Let's finish with this one. Ready? He's been probably one of the most fun players to watch this year in terms of what he's got to say to everyone, what he has to say to his teammates. Cameras and mics are always hot when he's around because they want to hear what he's going to do. That, of course, is Cleveland Browns quarterback Jameis Winston. This was him after getting his first win as the starting quarterback of the Browns this year.
Man, it's a white boy from Detroit that I really admire named Eminem. He said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity lasts once in a lifetime. And I know I got a quote, you know, Eminem, he from Detroit, he right up the road, but man, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that the Lord provided me with this opportunity. I'm grateful for my teammates, my coaches, and these amazing fans.
Jameis is a gem.
He means well. His heart's in the good place. I
wonder how
don't
the
necessarily.
teammates see it,
though. I don't know. How would you feel if the backup? Yeah, I think it just depends. I think if you understand him, you appreciate him, and when you talk to guys about him, like people stand down for him. Like they're supportive of him.
I've heard both.
He's fun though. He's fun.
He is fun. He is fun. He is fun.
Well, put it this way: the TV cameras take full advantage of him because they are all up on him every single time he's talking.
He's going to have quite the media career after he's done.
Oh, he is. So shout out to Jameis. Come join Scoop City anytime you want. All right, that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for listening to Scoop City. Have a fantastic weekend. We are going to be back on Tuesday to break down everything we are hearing from Week 10. And I figure, we've said some dumb things, Chase, over the first half of the season, but at the end of the year, we're going to do it. We're going to go back and play all the stupidity. So true. It'd be like a 7-hour show.
Mainly. Yeah.
I can think of 3 things off the top of my head right now that I want to crawl under the table right now and die because
it's all right. This is what podcasting is. You just put your thoughts out there and they just flow.
It's like vapor, except everyone can hear it for the rest of their lives. Lovely. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.